Yo, I was in the shower. Call me back.
All right, what's up, everybody? I'm your host, Josh.
I'm your host, Jared.
And this is the Melon Party.
Welcome.
Yeah, this is kind of our introduction. This will be the first time that we're doing this. We got a new idea, so we're going to do an introduction here to kind of give you guys an idea of who we are, where we come from. Jared and I have been close friends for 25 years, almost 80% of our lives. So you're probably going to run into some things where we disagree. We agree on a lot of things. We also disagree on a lot of things. We have argued most of our lives together. And so it's just something we do daily. And so we thought we'd take it to a microphone. We're going to talk a lot about what I guess our country calls nerd culture, which is basically anything that you are obsessive about anymore can kind of be nerdy because, you know, we got computers in our pockets.
The nerds won.
The nerds won. So we're going to talk movies, video games, off-the-wall subjects from all over the world. Some news stuff that maybe you didn't even know
Local
happened.
gossip and tea from Seymour in Jackson County.
Yeah. So Seymour is where we both grew up. BJ, our producer, is also from there. That's how we know him. A small town. Had a song written about it called Small Town, and we'll go into that.
A little on the nose, John. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, and too, it's a much different place than when we grew up. So Seymour, Indiana is based in Indiana. It's about an hour north of Louisville, hour south of Indianapolis.
The crossroads of America.
It is a crossroads. You got
That's
Highway
the nickname.
31 running through there, right? Or Highway 50?
Highway 50 runs coast to coast, and Interstate 65, which is what, like
North to
Chicago to Atlanta or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
so pretty big byway. Lots of trains go through there as well. But yeah, it's the middle of nowhere. It's flyover country, really.
Yeah, and a lot of pickup truck or a lot of semis because of that. So here, let's start a little bit. Let's go over some stories that come from our town. One of the first big ones was the Reno brothers. That's kind of what we were always taught.
The first mobile train robbery of all time, they said. The first trains had been stopped and robbed before, but these guys robbed it while it was moving.
Yeah.
And I guess that was revolutionary.
For the time.
Good for them. Way to go, guys, for being A-plus thieves.
Well, they were caught and hung in our town.
Yeah, they were lynched by a mob, actually, at Hangman's Crossing, right where my parents live right now. So it was a vigilante mob that chased them down and hung them.
Yeah.
So, way to go, Seymourians.
And growing up, we could always go to that crossroads, and your parents would be like, "That's the tree right there that they hung from." You know.
Well, I was reading the Seymour wiki last night, brushing up on my Seymour trivia, and there was a blurb there in the wiki that said the mother of the Reno brothers, after they were lynched, went there and burnt that tree to the ground after no leaf would ever grow on it again. So it was like cursed by the blood of the Renos.
And they've got like a little fenced-in area where they're all buried together.
Yeah.
So that's one of the big stories. What else we got? Some people who have gone or who come from Seymour. So one of the ones that Jared sent me.
Obviously the best.
Yeah, I mean, other than us. So here's a good one. On June 29th, 1854, not too far away, not too long ago, the first train on the new Ohio-Mississippi Railroad stopped in Seymour and fired a celebratory cannon shot. 4 men were killed in the resulting explosion from the poorly aimed fusillade. That kind of explains the town a little bit.
It really is.
Where
it
people
means
are dying
well.
in celebrations.
Yeah.
You know, like you're celebrating something that's really not that big of a deal, and then people are going to lose their lives over it.
Well, it just seems like people from Seymour don't necessarily think about things before they do them. And that's kind of what we had here. They're like, oh, yeah, we're going to shoot this cannon off, but let's maybe not make sure there's 4 people downrange. You know, so that's kind of a microcosm.
Well, it's kind of one of those things. It's like, sure, you can do it, but you didn't ask yourself why. You know, like.
That's like right when the town was being founded. Talk about kicking it off with a bang.
Yeah.
I mean, no pun intended. But
Well done, though. Also, This was something that we were actually talking about because growing up, when we had our senior year, they'd bring people in that were supposedly from Seymour and they were successful, and they're there to tell us that even though you're from this town, you can make it because I did this. I thought it was something to do with toothpaste. I knew it was something to do with bathroom
Yeah, we were
activities.
talking about this the other day. You couldn't figure it out,
Yeah,
but we did.
But we did find out. But actually, here we go. Frank B. Shields, Seymour native, former MIT professor and inventor of Barbasol shaving cream.
Yeah,
from
he was
Seymour.
who they named the first high school after. The Shields gym is still there on like 6th Street. It's dilapidated, and everybody like breaks the rocks. And you like break in there when you were an adolescent. And like I think that's where fucking Mellencamp had that shitty human wheels video
Human Wheels, yeah.
with like the basketball courts all trashed or whatever. It's even worse now, but
Yeah, my dad and his buddies, when growing up, they would play like Sunday basketball there because it was owned by people he knew.
yeah.
So they'd still go in. And so I spent a lot of time in that.
But Barbasol shaving cream, that's like a big deal. That's owned by like a big company now or something, right?
Last time I read it was bought by Pfizer.
Pfizer, well, that's a really big company. Well, now, I mean, with after the vaccination, obviously.
Yeah, they definitely, they're going to eat that up now.
I mean, not that they weren't before.
And he was the very first member of the SHS Seymour High School Wall of Fame, Hall of Fame.
Shields was.
Barbasol, yep.
Yeah, I think
nice.
that's where I saw it, because in that first hallway, when you walk in and had the auditorium, I thought they had something on the wall there that had a bunch of shit. And like I said, I remember there was something that kind of blew my mind. Like, that's kind of a big deal, but I could not.
An MIT professor, I mean, we're kind of glossing that over, too. I mean, that's no small achievement. I mean, that's the like best technical college in the country, and which is probably the best technical college in the world. So
and I mean, at MIT. I mean, we did know somebody that probably could have went to MIT. Brock probably could have went if he.
I wonder if
really
he was
wanted
given
to.
like the local barber shops back when they gave hot shaves, like the inside discount on that, like whipping up a home batch so they didn't have to like. This is the straight from the source Barbasol
Well,
here
I'm sure
in
that's how he
Seymour.
started. You know, yeah, I'm sure he started by just giving it away to kind of show. Because I mean, you got to assume at that time, I mean, that was.
You ever had a barber hot shave before?
Yeah.
It's amazing,
It
right?
is really
It's
amazing.
like an experience, dude. I had one of those like old like mob barbers like in Chicago who would like the shop hadn't changed since like 1970, and he'd like give you the hot towel treatment and the straight blade with the hot shaving cream. Man, I'm
It
getting
sticks
off
with
track,
you
but
too.
Anyway, yeah,
that's the thing, is like you feel that, like,
yeah.
I would assume it's kind of like a facial for women when they
Man,
go
I
and get
guess.
all the steam work done on their
That's
faces.
nice
and stuff.
though.
It's
That's
real
nice.
It's real nice. It's one thing I think everybody should, at least, whether you can grow a beard or not, have somebody go do that to you.
Yeah.
Just cover your face in a hot steaming towel and then slap you a little
If you
bit.
seeing
yeah.
like TikTok dudes and shit do that all the time too, got like you're 16 years old, he's got like not a hair on his face, he's like shaving like in the mirror because he's got like a square jaw or something for the ladies. Like, what are you doing, bro? It's like
it's
like washing a clean car, man. What are you doing? This is a waste of your time and resources.
you're mowing dirt. You know, there's no grass there. You're just mowing dirt, man.
Mowing dirt.
So yeah, there's a few things. Here's one that is a little more touchy. Something, I mean, none of these are anything. I mean, I guess you can kind of be proud of. The thing about Seymour for me is that I'm happy I grew up there. I think growing up in that smaller area, because it made me curious. It's the reason I left. It's the reason I went to go live in
Couldn't
Chicago.
get out
and-
fast enough.
and go experience other things, because all of our culture experiences were through TV. Like
there's shared experiences in small towns. It's just everybody knows everybody. You're related to everybody indirectly. Oh, like I went to school with you for 10 years, and then you find out you're second cousins or something, you know, and like that's how it always is and will be there. So I couldn't wait to get out fast enough, like you said, expand that experience.
Yes, because I mean, for me, any other race and stuff, all I knew was from TV, you know, and I wanted to go experience different people from different backgrounds, things like that.
Yeah.
But like, again, I am happy because I think with my personality and who I am, I think a lot of that has to do with coming from that town.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to move back or live there again, but I am happy that, you know, I had a great childhood.
Yeah, it's a good place to grow up as a kid.
Yeah. So we'll talk about David Curtis, quote quotations, Steve Stevenson. David Curtis Steve Stevenson.
Yeah, this guy's a
already
scumbag,
sounds like an
dude.
asshole.
This dude's a total scumbag.
All right, so August 21st of 1891 is when we were cursed with him, and then June 28th is when we all celebrated the witch was dead. He was an American Ku Klux Klan leader, convicted rapist and murderer. In 1923, he was appointed Grand Dragon of the Indiana Klan. Big success there, big success.
Well, the Klan started in like Martinsville or something.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, you can feel it driving through that town. And head of Klan recruiting for 7 other states. Later that year, he led those groups to independence from the national KKK organization. Imagine having an organization like that then doesn't even like each other, so then they separate.
Yeah.
Like, that's exhausting to have that kind of hate. Like, to hate that much to where you have to make sure you're on brand constantly. You know, like, that's got to be exhausting.
The KKK is not hateful enough for me. I got to have my own special KKK that's super hateful.
Yeah.
Let's turn it up.
Well, that's crazy, too. I mean, you see that in organized crime, too. A lot of the wars in organized crime is within family. It's not outside of family. It's power struggles.
Right.
But let's give this guy some credit, though. I mean, he was he was a recruiter for 7 states, and I mean, he obviously did a good job. You know,
He's putting up numbers
for the
Klan, huh?
Whether it's a good
Don't
cause
they
or
still
not.
have that damn parade in Seymour every year for the Klan out at like Freeman Field? Don't they still do that? Like,
I don't.
They did it at least a few years ago. I'm almost sure of it.
I know. I remember one.
They used to do
growing
it
up.
like every year.
Yeah, but I don't know.
It's
I haven't heard
obviously wasn't a big one, but it's still the fact
still
that
there.
it happens.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, Indiana and Seymour in that area as a pretty colored hit, no pun intended again, I apologize, but like there's obviously the hill out by Roseacre Farms that has the horrible name, the Inward Hill. And I mean, like, yeah, the Klan has a pretty strong presence in Seymour, at least it did historically. So, I mean, that's pretty gross, but definitely noteworthy.
Yeah, so in 1920, let's see here, Klan membership grew dramatically in these states that he was recruiting in, states north of the Mississippi. So it grew to 250,000 people, members. That's a big group.
250,000 people is not a small number.
Especially in the 20s.
Yeah.
Like that's a big percentage.
That's like a voting
of
block.
population. Yeah.
That's like a voting block, yeah.
So as I said, I mean, at least he was good at what he did. He was shitty. It was a shitty thing to be good at, but I mean, got to give him some credit. He was good at being shitty.
Look at this, yeah.
Look at that.
Seymour residents receive KKK invitations.
2014. This is not like, it's a little bit ago, but that's from 2014.
That's not
yeah.
far back enough, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's like
This is not 79, right?
Yeah.
I still remember some dinners from 2014, you know, like
I'm sure I remember them dudes out there parading by Freeman Field by like the bank there where you turn off to go to Kimberly or whatever, and they'd like set up there with
The People's Bank.
Yeah, the People's
I
Bank.
lived in that trailer park.
Yeah,
the People's
exactly. Right there. They'd be on that corner out there. God.
Lord.
That's what I'm saying, man.
They're right
Seymour-
next to the abortion people and
Yeah.
the church people.
Yeah.
Oh, Chuck, you got duty today? Good to see you.
Yeah,
Good to
the
see you.
church people shut down the porn store out there at Dudleytown. They were out there every day for like 7 years or something, and finally shut down that porn store out in like Dudleytown.
They also
just like
did
what
the strip club downtown. When we were just in last
that
year's
was
high
in
school.
old downtown. That's right. They shut them down right quick too.
Which is fine. I mean, a lot of them.
I kept
strippers had
hearing
knee
all these
braces and
people from
shit.
out of town. I went up to the Oktoberfest last night, and I kept hearing all these people from out of town being like, "You got to go to. You're at an Oktoberfest. You can't walk around out here with a beer." And I just wanted to be like, thank your fundamentalist conservative government. Like, we just were able to buy beer here on Sundays, like 5 years ago or something. Like, blue laws from like the 20s.
Yeah, it's wild.
But if you're going to recruit, I would go with color printer.
Yeah.
Splash down on the marketing.
I mean, because if
know?
you're trying to say, white America, don't use black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to make a message unintended,
Or make it like invisible ink, and all members get the little light so they can see what the
Here's your
secret
decoder
message
ring.
is.
You get your decoder ring at your first meeting,
Yeah.
and you get to read the secret message in your KKK flyer that your kids got out of the mailbox.
Before you leave, make sure to fill out the address form so we can keep in touch with you. So we can send some
Like
shit
and
out.
subscribe this KKK flyer.
It's all just copied. They printed one and then just went to the copied them at the local FedEx.
But yeah, Seymour definitely has a colorful history. you
Yeah,
know.
I mean for it's an
Small
old
town conservative Indiana, it's full of churches and people who have never left, so they just it's
When we're-
super insular.
And the state's in the perfect situation for 100 years ago. Like there weren't a lot of people came this far from the East Coast, and they were just like, I think we're good.
Lutherans.
Yeah, it took them almost a year to get from New York to Indiana, and they're just like, I think we're just stay here.
German
There's food
Lutherans,
here.
man. It's like the whole damn town. That's why we have an Oktoberfest that's been going for 50 years now.
Which Oktoberfest is cool. I mean, I do like it. I haven't been in a few years, but the food, I mean, growing up, it was great because in our town you couldn't really find a whole lot to do. So
It's
I mean,
fast food and
yeah.
4 restaurants that have been there for 1,000 years.
but it was the perfect place to show up as 16, 17-year-old kid with your buddies to go run around, try to run into some other guys. What are you getting in tonight? Oh, we're doing this, and now we got something to do.
You
And
always
then-
had something to do. Yeah.
And then Oktoberfest wasn't around. You go to the Walmart and you walk around, or you go you scoop the loop and try to find
Yeah,
somebody.
scoop
What's
the
going
loop.
on?
That's like a big deal now. They shut the city down like the Oktoberfest for that. They have like a big car show now.
Yeah, they turned it
and
into a
bring
car show.
Yeah, because they bring people over from like North Vernon and Brownstown now, and they could have a whole car culture there. So that's kind of cool.
It is cool. Because, I mean, we used to just do it just to try to get people mad. Yeah. That one guy got out that one night with the baseball bat because we were driving too slow. Went extra slow.
Yeah.
And he was,
We used to go down there and troll them and idle through the loop and see how many people we could back up behind us.
Yeah, and get them all pissed off.
And they would be getting furious and be like, "What? You're just going to be making 4 right turns or left turns anyway.
Yeah.
What do you care?"
Yeah,
They were getting furious.
and that was
at
their
us,
time,
though.
though. That was their moment, that Friday night. That's what they lived for.
Man, they loved that stuff, though.
But yeah, the Oktoberfest, it's a thing that a lot of small towns throughout, especially the Midwest, has. And basically, it's just a little festival. It's got food trucks. We got a flea market set up. You got some
stages where they
some
play
rides.
Bavarian music and do the chicken dance.
Oh, yeah.
And they go a Schulhouse 4+3.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. And I guess that Schulhouse is schoolhouse because it's all the music teachers from the schools. Because I saw Keith Stam's up there, Miss America Katie Stam's dad, who was the music teacher, and their mom was the home ec teacher.
Yeah.
I
And
thought they were brother and sister.
they
look a lot of
I asked.
They're cousins.
I asked. I was like, "What's it like working with your sister every day? It's a great feeling." She's like, "That's my husband." I was like, "Okay."
They're like cousins, though. But
Yeah.
I mean, they had 3 beautiful daughters.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
maybe there's something for inbreeding with your cousins in Seymour to make beautiful children.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, Miss America, and I mean, their other 2 daughters were Miss Teen Indianas. All 3 of them were Miss Teen Indianas.
Yeah, I ran around with Heather a lot.
And wasn't their son, the son that they had, who was 5'10" and looked just like their dad, a super nerd? I think he became a doctor.
Yeah.
Well, he got into
He was super
entrepreneurship.
smart. He was super
Yeah,
smart.
He had his own liquor that he was making for
Well, I
a
mean,
while.
both their
and-
parents were teachers, and
Yeah,
they're
bright
they're
people.
churched up pretty good too. So I mean, those kids were gonna be okay.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing is they were all bright. I ran around with him through basketball, and then one of the girls, Heather, and they were all of them were bright people.
Heather was
smart
in
people.
your class, right?
you're
and then
younger.
Heidi was in my class. Yeah, Heidi was the wild child. She was the oldest one. She
Yeah.
was a little wild for sure. Shout out to Heidi if you're listening.
Yeah.
You were cool. I haven't seen her in forever.
Someone else that going.
Compared to the other ones, I mean, then none of them were wild. None of them got in trouble or
No.
anything. But I mean, for Seymour, some people partied, some didn't.
Another big name was John Cougar Mellencamp.
Well, I mean, he's clearly number one on the list of famous
That's
people from
Mr.
Seymour.
I mean, most of his songs are about our town, small town. And,
Even though every interview he gives, he like shits all over us, you
well,
know.
he's a
like
Bloomington. He likes to say he's from
well, yeah, he
Bloomington.
says he's from Bloomington because he's got a $5 million mansion on the lake there or whatever. And Bloomington's a much cooler place to be from in Indiana, than Seymour for sure.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
certainly a more.
I think he had a bad experience. I think he was rebellious. And
My mom was in the same class as Mellencamp, was good friends with his first wife, Syl, who he bailed on after he got famous. And, like, Mom took Cougar to his first Bowie concert and let him. Mom had these platform boots, right? These, like, 6-inch, like, calf-high platforms. And this was when Bowie was in a Ziggy Stardust face.
Yeah.
And Cougar dressed up, ziggied out with like glam makeup and eyeshadow, borrowed my mom's platform boots, and they went to this show, right?
I'd love to see that.
No doubt. I was like, God, I used to have some of Mellencamp's records when I got my parents' vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be going through it, and I pull out this Phantasmagoria album, and it's got Mellencamp and Sharpie on the front of it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I call up my mom, and she's like, yeah, I traded him that for a Moody Blues album.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I had a few of those. I ended up selling all my records when I left Austin, Texas, and I moved out to LA because I had fucking just like 1,000 vinyl that I had shipped from Indiana to Chicago to Chicago to Indiana to Chicago to Texas, and like every time I moved it was like $1,500 just for my records.
Yeah. You didn't take him to LA with you?
I didn't. I sold them all in Austin
that's a
because they
lot.
gave me a good price, and I mean that was a good place to sell them in Austin because there's a bunch of it's a college town. It's it's a liberal place. They got
People
like
are
a bunch of dope record stores there. I could have pieced them out and made a lot of money, but I needed money to move to LA, so I was just like, hey, give me some money, and they did. That's cool.
Yeah. Count Mellencamp, for people who may not know who he is. I mean, it's a weird thing.
Everybody knows who he is.
It's a weird thing though, because there's some people
Farm
don't.
Aid is a huge deal,
Right, but
And
there
he
are still
did that.
some
That's
people.
like him.
But I mean, you may know him
A
from
younger
sucking
generation probably doesn't know him.
sucking on a chili dog.
Yeah,
That whole thing.
yeah,
That's John
that's
Cougar
been a
Mellencamp.
resurgence later of everybody doing the chili dog parodies. They're great. I love all of them. Anyone that I've ever seen of people just singing chili dog, where they get up at a karaoke and do the. Just keep saying that line over and over for the entire
Sucking on a
song
chili
in
dog.
key. That shit is pure gold for me. I love
Sucking on
that
a
so much.
chili dog. Sucking on a chili dog. Sucking on a chili dog.
Yeah, I
That
love
shit's so
that.
funny.
Chili dog.
Chili dog. Chili.
But yeah, I was walking my dogs the other day, right? Okay. I'm walking my dogs. I live over on Johnson Street in the Boulevards. Okay. I'm walking past 5th Street, and there's Cougar's old homestead on 5th Street, the old brick house there.
Yeah.
And I'm walking, and I see this like $70,000 Land Rover parked out front, okay? And I'm like, whose ride is that?
Yeah.
And then I see this like 5'6" rocker dude with a blazer and like pointy shoes on and rings on his fingers.
Is that Russell Brand?
Yeah, I was like, who is that? And I got up and I look at him and I'm like, that is the Cougar. I was like, there he is. And I think he had Meg Ryan with him. Isn't he with Meg Ryan right now? I think Meg Ryan was in the ride.
Yeah.
He just did the interview. They're no longer together.
I was going to say, he had a young blonde with him who was
yeah,
hot.
Yeah, she's like 30 years younger.
Yeah, she was super hot. That's why I didn't know if it was Meg. I was like, she's super hot, whoever this girl
his
is.
daughter was on The Real Housewives, and that's how John Mellencamp kind of got.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how was on the Live After Dark on Bravo, whatever that show is.
Sure.
She was on there with him.
Oh.
And then that's when then he started talking about how he's dating someone even younger now.
Well, good for Cougar. Well, I mean, didn't he just
does
sell his
well.
music rights for like $100 million too? Anyway,
He does well.
That's how he's able to buy those painter overalls.
yeah.
Painter overalls.
Well, I think Well, so he's out in front of his old crib, right? And I'm like, I'm gawking at him, and he kind of gives me the nod. I don't say anything to him, and I just keep walking. So then I immediately text my parents. And then, like, one of my group chats, I'm like, hey, I just saw the Cougar out in front of his old place, right? I was like, what's he doing in town? And then my dad, one of my buddies tells me he was probably in town for the SECA thing, the Southern Indiana Center for the Arts that he does out there by Rockford, by the museum thing.
Yep.
He was there for that. And then my dad tells me that he heard that, I don't know if Cougar bought it or somebody affiliated with him bought it, but is turning it into a B&B, or Airbnb.
Yeah.
And I'm just like that, and then Dustin Bohall said the same thing. That's what he heard.
Yeah.
So that's two sources who said that somebody has either bought or is turning Cougar's old house into an Airbnb, and I've been calling it the Cougar B&B all week.
Yeah.
Or since it's happened. It's been a couple weeks, and I just who goes to that?
I mean, there's got.
And what's the market? I want to know what the price on the Cougar B&B is per night in Seymour.
That's what I'm here for.
Man.
This,
He's got the answers.
this article came out April 17, 2023. John Mellencamp's Boyhood Home set to become an Airbnb in Seymour.
What? It is true.
And some of these comments are hilarious.
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Soon they'll be able to sleep where the rock star slept.
Oh,
Kevin Burke has owned Mellencamp's Boyhood Home, which is not a little pink house.
nice.
His wife liked the idea of trying something new there. She said, let's make it an Airbnb, even though the Airbnb markets are crashing.
Yeah, that's at the dead platform.
Because Seymour is a D market. They're so far behind on how the world works.
Yeah.
Back to the previous KKK thing. Mellencamp's dad bought the one-bedroom house in 1954 on West 5th Street in Seymour. I actually lived on 5th Street, too. When John was 3 years old, and they sold it in 1966 when he was 16. Then Burke bought it for $32,000 in 1970.
Wow.
He turned into it. It's been a rental property since then. Burke is considering putting Mellencamp memorabilia on the walls, transferring John's room into the basement. I wouldn't be opposed to making it a vintage place. Oh my God! If past visitors are any indication, there's some potential here. I brought people here, and they walked through like it's a church. Burke remembered.
What? It's a shitty little house.
It's neat just to say any kind of fame back to this town. One of the decorations on the wall at the Boyhood Home says, "Home is where your story begins."
Oh.
That was certainly the case for Mellencamp, and what a story people will have after staying there. The Airbnb is expected to open for overnight stays sometimes before the end of the year. Burke is considering charging $150 to $200 a night.
What? $150 on? Oh my God! I live half a block away. You can stay at my place for $100. Let's get it.
There you go.
I got a couch, $75 here.
Oh, you're
All right,
undercutting
there
me.
we go.
There you.
But
but
hey,
one-
good competition makes a good market.
But one thing we talked about before the show, John Mellencamp on Behind the Music talked about Seymour, and he said his grandpa died here. He idolized his grandpa. He's like, Seymour is a 2-story town. Egad.
Yeah. Quote egad.
But Airbnb up to $150, $200.
$150 on it. Now, you know Cougar's getting in on it because why else would he be there?
Has to.
I'd
There's no way.
rather stay at Rip Rogers' house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rip needs it.
Let's get the Hustler
I'm
in.
more of a-
Hustler B&B. I'd pay $200 a night for that all day.
Yeah, go in there and see some old photos of him with old school wrestlers and
Yeah.
stuff. That'd be awesome.
I mean, we shit on Cougar, and I mean, it's funny.
Easy. It's easy.
But
That's
I
all
mean,
it is.
he is a big deal. I mean, like the Farm Aid is a big deal. He's raised a ton of money for farmers. I mean,
He does a lot of charity work. I mean, for me, a lot of
the
people.
Scarecrow album is good.
Good album.
It's good.
Yeah.
It won like some Grammys, didn't it? It won like album of the year or some shit.
I think so. And then if Pink House's video, he's dancing. They're at the end. They're doing the at the gas station in Uniontown. Mm-hmm. That's my uncle owns that property.
Oh, sweet.
He lives there. And I was married to church in the video behind it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but he
Right.
wasn't there though. So we were going to think about turning that. When are they going to do my museum down there?
There you go.
Yeah, let's go.
Jesus.
$200 a night. I mean, that's
Man, I cannot believe that though. Think they got a continental chili dog breakfast there.
there. Yeah, free chili dogs in the morning.
Chili dogs in the morning.
But it's not like you're in a scenic area, right?
It's
Yeah.
just a neighborhood. I mean, you got Emerson School.
Yeah.
We're going to walk to Governor's Corner in the 3 months that it's open when the kids are.
Mellencamp better be there serenading me for those prices.
That's what I'm saying. I better be getting
I want him down there
candlelight
painting
dinner.
like, his overalls half off painting for $200.
I mean, right now would be a good time.
Let's get his kids.
So
Yeah.
if people knew about that, you could come in. But I mean, you're going, if you go to Google and ask Google.
If Cougar was going to be
interesting.
performing at the Oktoberfest, you could get $150 a night for that weekend. Maybe.
Because what's that house? 1,200 square feet?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. You know?
It's little.
But as a basement where his room was, they're going to... I don't know. That's just creepy.
Yeah.
So my mom grew up just down on 4th Street right there at like 4th and Emerson. So they grew up. Mom said that she, when the Beatles first came on Ed Sullivan's show, the first televised American Beatles performance, Mellencamp had like a reel-to-reel recorder and recorded the performance, the audio, and then like brought it to show and tell the next day because they were young. They were like grade school or something. And was like super influenced by that performance at a young age and was like, oh, like, look at this. Like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life, you know? Like because my mom was born in 52 and that would have been in what, like 1963. So they would have been like 11, what, 6th grade then maybe? So I thought that was a pretty cool. Mom tells those random stories every now and then about growing up with the Coug because she went to school.
He
with
filmed his movie in Seymour.
Yeah. Well, Falling from Grace. That was the name of the movie.
And
Mariel Hemingway.
There was at the market scene, Jay's Market. My house was next door where they were filming, and then she was very nice, Mellencamp. Like we stayed home from school to see him. I mean, this was
that was a big deal.
This was 5th grade.
Yeah.
So you guys would have been in 4th grade when this happened, and so we were and saw him and finally my mom finally got his attention or whatever, and he did, like you said, he did the nod.
Sure. Yeah.
Did no pictures, no nothing.
Yeah, he's very hands off in Seymour. He came to like one class reunion. My mom said like the 10th or 15th or something, and like stayed for like 20 minutes. Got up on the stage, was like, "Hey, how you doing? It's good to see you." And then just like dipped. No meet
the Hall
and
of
greet.
Fame. Remember, we were all there during the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just walked in, walked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dealt with him a few times when I was living in Bloomington. I was working at a shoe sporting goods store,
Smith's,
and him and his wife. It was the model at that time.
Yeah,
I forget her name.
Elaine, and
beautiful.
the VS
She'd
model.
come in with no makeup
the mother
on,
of his
just
kids.
got done working out.
She
and
was
flawless.
Yeah,
beautiful,
beautiful woman. Yes.
But he was always super nice to me, and we would chat a little bit, and then I told him who my mom was, and he remembered her, and but yeah, I mean but you hear some horror stories about him where he's just kind of, well, not necessarily horror stories. He's just kind of
any celebrities, they deal with that shit all the time, you know. Some people are just private people, and you get that vibe from him because, I mean, he's got that big gated, you know, place in Bloomington that's super private. I mean, he doesn't give a ton of interviews, you know, and stuff, you know.
Thank God.
Yeah.
His latest
He's
one?
a super abrasive guy. He's a little...
I love that he's still smoking heaters. Love
yeah,
it.
dude. He smokes like 3
Bernie's.
packs a day, dude. Still, dude.
going strong.
That dude,
He
yeah.
just did an interview with the guy on Friday nights on HBO.
Bill Maher. That's right. I heard about that.
I
Did
watched
you
it.
see it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just him, like, I don't think he's really in touch with how the real world works.
No.
Well, I'm okay with that. Like, he's a celebrity. He's millions of dollars. His daughter's on Bravo TV.
I was gonna say, I think he just sold his music for like $100 million. His music rights to somebody. That's
a little chunk of
9
change.
figures, man.
Yeah, it's a little chunk of
I
change.
mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, 100 mil's 100 mil. You know, that's almost a bill.
And plus today, I mean, for how music's sold and how they make their money, I mean, that's what you got to do. Sell your discography, because these pennies you're getting on a download is not going to cut it. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, he has a loft in Soho, for God's sakes.
Yeah. I mean, he's got like that classic Corvette collection. He's got like 6 split window Corvettes that are worth like $150,000 each or something minimum. He's got one of them that's like, you know, a super rare one. You know, he collects like, you know, old Corvettes. But you know, if you got that kind of cheddar sitting around, then you're doing just fine.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, Cougar's definitely number 1 on the most famous people from Seymour list.
He's got to be.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, there's
shout
no
out
question.
Hustler Rip Rogers. you know,
Rip
for
Rogers,
sure.
definitely.
What Danny Holly, the Damager. We got some some
wrestlers.
wrestling cred from Seymour. You know, shout out to the wrestlers.
Calhoun, Olympic swimmer.
The Olympic swimmer. Eric Worski was an Olympic
Eric-
alternate. He went to the camp. He's a big coach at Florida.
Yeah, he's a
Shout out to the Olympians.
I think Eric now is five titles, indoor, outdoor.
Yeah, he's
Like,
killing, dude.
yeah, he's
at
done
Florida.
really well.
Shout out to this QB at SHS. This Brett Perry kid, he's like #1 in the country.
Yeah, he's putting up a lot of numbers.
Seymour athlete, like we're not good at athletics really. Well, we were like once in like the 80s, but like
yeah, I mean there was.
But this kid,
runs.
he's like #2 in the nation in passing. He's like #1 in touchdowns. He's like killing.
Yeah,
I guess
wild.
they got some stud like wideout or like I don't know. I don't watch football. I just know this kid's really good.
from the papers.
I guess he's playing baseball at Indianapolis or
That's wild.
IUPUI
Highly ranked
or
quarterback.
University of Indianapolis, something like that.
Playing
Where'd
baseball.
Megger go?
Yeah, U of I.
Megger, he's
Yeah,
going where
Indy.
Megger went. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So, yeah,
I mean that's crazy. They say they're scoring like winning games like 55-50. The
Yeah.
Seymour defense is brutal, I guess.
That's the thing though in football though. Defense is getting harder and harder, no matter what level you're on.
Well, they're legislate out the physicality. You can
Yeah.
go over the middle now. You can get your head taken off.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, shout out famous Seymour people. Good for them. Come on, Cougar. Come on back to the B&B for 150 a night. You can do it.
Yeah, let's come and hang out with us, or let's do a show at the Coug B&B.
Well, yeah, do a live taping from the Cougar B&B.
Did you look at all the lists of famous people they have listed on Wikipedia?
I did.
Wow.
It's a bunch, right? I don't know. Some of them are tangentially related to Seymour. You know,
Yeah,
like
like
Kennedy
relatives.
from MTV, and then they had Pee Wee Reese on there, the baseball player. I guess he played we had a minor league team here where he played back in the day.
One of the coolest people was John Bell Blish, inventor of the Blish lock.
Yeah, I saw him
Component
too.
of the Thompson
Submachine gun. Yeah, the Tommy gun.
Nice.
Yeah, he made
1875. So he graduated from Seymour, and I was like, man, like that did a lot of work in the Midwest.
Yeah,
Did a lot of
yeah,
work.
good for him.
That
man.
got a lot of problems solved.
Well, I mean, the Blishes are a loaded family here in town.
Yeah,
I mean,
I went to school with David.
aren't
Farmers.
didn't they build the grain elevators?
Yep, they did. And then the other big one from Seymour that I noticed is obviously Rob Weedoff, voice actor.
Yeah, from Red Dead
absolutely.
Redemption. Yeah,
He's a great follow too. He's
I
fun-
mean,
he's fun
he's
to follow on
great.
social
Yeah,
media.
he's
got a great
he's
voice. You don't
good.
talk about voices.
Yeah, that guy's
dude's
got.
voice
Well, I mean, John.
kills.
He got paid to do voice acting. That Red Dead Redemption game was hot.
That's a
son.
good series. And
Oh,
he
it's
does a great job in that.
games, man. Great games. He did great work on that. That's like, I mean, you want to talk about video games now. The market for video games, they said, is more than television, movies, and something combined now. Like all the box office, all the television, and then like.
Well, it's microtransactions, which is
Well,
something
I mean,
we'll
yeah,
end up
they've
discussing
monetized
on
everything.
an episode
Yeah,
soon.
for
'cause
sure. We
that
could
is
talk about that for
infuriating.
days, for sure. Well, they banned it in like Europe and a few places.
Well, because I mean, I understand. You're introducing gambling, the idea of gambling. Whether it's, if this is the thing, if something costs a certain price, you pay that, you get exactly what it is you paid for.
Right.
Now, when you're just saying, here's your odds, and you may get this, this, and this, and it's all controlled through algorithms and things like that that they can control, the company can actually control. Now you're just introducing gambling, and you're introducing it to
it's
kids.
a dopamine trigger,
Yeah.
man. You're like, they got those like unboxing for like the CS:GO guys who unbox and get those knives that are worth like $100,000 that they can auction. Like digital assets that they sell for real money.
Which that'll be a whole episode.
217 billion in 2022 and expected to grow at a rate of 13.4% from 2023 to 2030
billion.
And that is console, mobile, and computer all combined into one.
Yeah, I mean,
mobile's
mobile
good.
games is massive.
big.
I don't play mobile games, but it seems like every other person in the world does.
Well, mobile games is kind of what
Like
pushed
even my
these
mom
guys to where
plays
they're at.
like solitaire on her phone like all the time. And like my dad plays like this golf game on his phone, and they're like old as hell.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't play games on my phone. I don't know. That's weird.
I mean, that's a real big thing.
I mean, talking about games, can I just talk about Baldur's Gate 3 for 1 second, man? This game has taken over my life, so man, it's the best game I've played in a while. I played Red Dead Redemption 2, which was incredible. I'm liking this more.
Really?
I mean, I'm a D&D nerd, of course. So I mean, I'm a huge mark for this kind of game, and I played the Baldur's Gate 2 that was on like PlayStation 2 back in the day. But I mean, I got a problem with this game, man.
What I've read, a lot of people have got problems, man.
Dude, I mean, it's so good, though. I can't go on about it, but since we're talking video games, it's just, I figured I'd drop that in there. But yeah, man, it's super solid. Everybody get Baldur's Gate 3. I went and bought a PlayStation 5 just so I could play it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are doing that for the Spider-Man games, too, spending $500-$600 on a console.
I hate that they're doing that bullshit exclusives to consoles, though. That's some bullshit, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
it used to just drop everything on both consoles, and that's the way it should be, man. And there should be cross-platform play because they can obviously do that.
Yeah.
I should be able to play with people with PlayStations, with Xboxes. You know, I mean, that's whatever.
Yeah.
We're getting off topic again, but anyway,
that's fine.
I've digressed.
We can basically wrap this up on that. I mean, we kind of covered everything. Went over some top people, so that's kind of an idea of who we are, where we're from. Yeah, I mean, you got anything else to add?
What about Seymour? I mean, I could talk about Seymour all day, man. I mean, yeah, we covered some pretty good stuff about Seymour and kind of give you an idea of who we are and where Seymour is and what it's about. But yeah.
So we're gonna do. Not real sure how often we're gonna release these yet. I mean, it's gonna be sporadic at first until we can kind of get going, because hectic schedules, things like that. But this,
I mean, you got a family with children, man. I mean,
yeah.
I'm a single dude with 2 dogs, dude. I'm pretty
just
free, but I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, I guess.
Yeah, which I think we should try to do here. I think because did BJ ever play Dungeons and Dragons?
No, but I got a guy in Indy that you guys would love. Tyson Cox, local comedian, runs D&D. Actually, runs them at a pretty big event. Tyson's a great guy.
Yeah,
funny comedian. But I don't see why I'm not on this list on Wikipedia. We need to make this happen. I have 600 podcast episodes in 7 years.
That's pretty good.
1.4 million downloads over 7 years.
That's pretty good, man.
You're the number one podcaster from Seymour, 100%.
Someone else will probably claim. I should be, yes.
I'm giving you that title now.
Hey,
can't you edit Wikipedia? Just put.
I don't want to do it myself. I was like, somebody listen to this. And do it.
So I'm gonna trace the IP.
I had a fan come up to me last night and say, "Hey, I'm a big fan of the show," and I was just like,
"That's awesome."
I was like, "That's great."
That's good.
Other people go, "Oh, I didn't know you did that." I'm like, we've been friends since like.
We could talk a little bit about the Oktoberfest, man. It's kicking off right now. It's the 50th anniversary of the Oktoberfest. The old man was hawking T-shirts up there at the Lions Club yesterday. Hard for him, man. He was like, "You're gonna want this 50th anniversary."
Yeah,
this is a collector's item.
My mom wanted to wait in line for a mug. I was like, no bueno.
No bueno.
How about they got rid of? Okay, I got something we gotta talk about.
All
right. Now hold up. I was at the Oktoberfest last night, and all the booths that have been there for a million years, they're always in the same spot.
Yeah.
Soddy Bobby's always in the same spot. The Fireman Tenderloin's always in the same spot.
Yeah.
But Pizza Palace again has not shown up. They weren't there. Selling the French bread boat pizzas, which are amazing and everybody loves. So
the shit.
Yeah, they haven't done it for like
Give
the
me
past
3.
few years because they're selling pizzas for $35 a piece.
Yeah,
and making a mint
their price
anyway.
has gone up. Yeah.
Anyway,
Last time I ate there was with you.
Oh, at the ailment thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I saw you and your brother there. That's right. Yeah, I was there too. But yeah, so the trailer that's in the spot of the Pizza Palace boat that's no longer there is a place that was selling 16-ounce sweet teas for $4. The name of this place was Sweet Tea and Jesus. 16-ounce sweet tea, $4. Sweet Tea and Jesus.
Can they take that tea and turn it into wine?
I don't know. I guess you got like a $1 or $2 refills on it or something for the weekend was the deal.
They're
but
killing.
$4 sweet tea.
Oh, and they're killing it.
Sweet Tea and Jesus. Are they're funding
bringing in
anti-homo
40 grand.
legislation in Africa with this $4 sweet tea, aren't they?
They're teaming up with Chick-fil-A?
They're doing those camps where they send you to.
That's
like,
what the re-education for no homos.
I think it's actually owned by Mike Pence. It may be.
Or they just take his ways.
I don't know. There's a few of our politicians from Southern Indiana too that I'm like, hey, politicians, this week it's Oktoberfest, so make sure people take away your keys.
Yeah. I mean, oh God, we were talking about the cops last night too. So there were a ton of cops on patrol. Obviously, the biggest weekend of the year for Seymour, and I mean they were everywhere. We have to have 40 cops in Seymour, I bet now. Yeah. And I mean that's a lot.
And they all have forearm tattoos.
Yes, they all are Punisher clone weak dudes. But anyway,
except for the one that was cold. When it got cold, he was walking around like this.
They looked so young.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not listening to you.
Yeah. They looked like they were 17 years old.
Probably are.
Like this dude couldn't ride the Gravitron, but he's got a gun on his hip. He was 5'7".
Yeah, I saw him. They all
and
walked.
And he was a fresh-faced 5'7" kid.
Yeah.
They struggled to get people not to cross the tracks when the train was coming through.
Yeah, I saw that.
They were like,
I do.
I was over there.
I said that too. That train came through. I was like, God, I hope nobody got run
And they
over.
were like this. And I was just sitting there with my phone going, let's see what happens.
Yeah. There's
this is
a
an opportunity here.
And it's natural selection.
It really is.
But no, the cops were like that. And then the other thing was, my wife's like, you have to get tickets, and it's cash only. I was like, Steph, cash is king. And then they ain't turning this money in.
No, this is the biggest moneymaker of the year for half of these people.
And then Steph goes, oh yeah. I was like, don't you run your own business where you do that too? And she's like, no.
Yeah. Moving on.
I sure do not.
Moving on.
I claim all of it, IRS. Thank you.
We played a game last night as a family. Well, I didn't play. They played a game as a family, and it was like one of those cool moments and stuff like that. My mom was beating like little kids at the water gun.
Yeah.
And then she was looking at him like, I'll take the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something else I wanted to talk about
the cakewalk
too.
thing too is fun.
Yeah, well, I love the cakewalk. Yeah,
Piper's one for one.
My grandma before she passed used to bake 20 pies and cakes for the cakewalk every year, and they were legit. That's where my grandma used to make something that she'd make 2 of them every year for the cakewalk.
The blueberry,
the grape
pie.
You ever had grape pie, BJ? You ever heard of grape pie?
Yes.
I think that's a Seymour thing because I never heard of it anywhere else in the world. And every time I tell somebody outside of Seymour about grape pie, they look at me like I got 3 eyes.
Oh yeah, that's one. And I noticed when I went down there last night, I was like, "Hey, how's everybody doing?" I was like, "What happened to my voice?" Like when all of a sudden I got crossy, down in Jackson County. I was like, "Hey,
you start code switching into freaking drawl." I do the same thing.
I saw one of our good friends last night, Condell, and then he was talking to my sons who he hadn't seen God knows how long since they were kids, and then we took a photo and he said this, I didn't say it. He's like, yeah, me and your dad were some of the darkest guys we had there. And I was just like, and I was like, oh shit. And I was like, and I saw the photo, and after I took it, I posted or whatever because he's a great dude. And I was just like, shit, we were some of the darkest people there.
100%.
And then my son was like, what did they call you? I was like, I can't repeat it.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
No,
there's some.
I whispered it in his ear in the back. I rode in the back of the car. And he's like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
He's like, "But you're not one." And I was like,
"Who knows?"
To them, I was.
Who knows?
Our buddy Mike Sullivan will be dropping in too. He experienced a lot of that. He went to Brownstown, which we spoke about Seymour's racist past. Brownstown even probably has just as colored racial past. They had the sign that outside until like 1990 that said "Don't let the sun set on your black ass" or something.
Yeah, because that's
pretty brash.
Yeah, I mean, I just visited another sundown town in southern Indiana.
Yeah, sundown towns.
Like I always thought that was a running joke from like the 50s and 60s, and then like
those are real things.
I'll tell you this, to be honest with you, depending on what part of Indiana I'm in, most of the time I say I'm Italian. I'm like, yeah, I'm Italian.
Yeah, go with
it.
You can sell it. Yeah,
just avoid any conversation.
Sure, yeah, it's better that way because it's still a lot of small-minded people around.
But one thing about the Oktoberfest that we talked about earlier was like you can see if you dodge some bullets with some of the ladies.
Yeah,
and some of the ladies look at the men like, dodge some bullets.
Yeah, you start to notice that. I think
the
everything works out the way it's supposed to.
It's like, wow, you look like your mom, and that's terrible.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's what was cracking me up too. It's like all the people who get up and like they'll take Friday off, put on their best outfit, hit the beer garden, which is what their like real tree,
Yeah.
Put on their nicest camo
flannel and well, I saw a lot of USA hats that are black with a blue line.
Yeah, the thin blue line.
And then,
everybody in town's a cop, man. I'm telling you, they got to have 50 cops in town. There's 20,000 people in town.
But my son was like, "Why does everybody look like they're out of a country music video?"
Because I mean, their main influence is is TV. I mean,
they watch Yellowstone.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Yellowstone extras there.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I saw 7 people with sunglasses on at 9:00. And I was like,
future's bright.
I like going down there because I have my wife is beautiful, and I like walking around like who's trailer trash now.
Yeah,
fuckers.
yeah. Your revenge tour.
Oh yeah, I'm like here, walk in front of me.
So yeah, well, appreciate you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys like it.
Yeah, if hopefully we'll get these out semi-infrequently. We got full-time lives. Josh got a full family and stuff. So we'll get together, put together some thoughts. Reach out to us if you know us personally and you have any good ideas for topics or something you'd like to hear us talk about.
Definitely.
You think we might be good at, or if you're interested in jumping in on a guest spot or something, again, reach out to us.
Absolutely. We're open, kind of an open idea here. It's one thing that we just kind of got together and decided that we want to give this a shot. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, and I guess we'll see you.
We'll catch you on the next time. We'll see you for the next melon party.
Yeah.
Peace. Take care, guys.